everyone. My name is Kara, and today we're going to do about a 60-minute session focusing on the head, neck, and some of the shoulder area too. Starting with a little bit of meditation and probably bringing in some light sound and some breathing technique and humming as well. So we're going to start seated on your mat. If you want to find your comfortable seat. I like lately to have a block just where I can sit up on top of my block and give a little bit more space for my hips when I'm sitting with my legs crossed like this. So we're going to start in some sort of seated position and do a little bit of meditation and easy breath work to get into the zone today. So today's focus is the head and the neck, as well as the third eye chakra. So that's kind of your forehead and your actual face area too. So today we're going to be focusing a lot on growing some awareness of those muscle groups that maybe you haven't thought a lot about before. So go ahead and come to your comfortable seat. Start to sit up tall and maybe deepen your breath, lengthen your spine. Ground down into the earth wherever you're seated. If you're on a block, if you're on a chair, seated on a pillow, all of those are really good options too. So you're going to start to sit up tall. Just take some deep breaths in. Maybe trying to find the thoracic area of your lungs, which is in the middle of your stomach, right at the bottom of your rib cage, right above your belly button. Sitting up tall, trying to breathe into that area. Maybe even extending your breath a little farther down into the low belly. And try to relax the muscles in your eyebrows. Just taking deep breaths in, letting your eyes be nice and relaxed. And then if you'd like, you can go ahead and place your palms facing up or on your knees. Or if you're sitting on the ground, you can always also just bring your palms right to the earth next to you. So go ahead and find a place for your hands to come to and start to close your eyes. We're going to do something called a Bumble Bee Breath to get started today. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And as you breathe into that low belly area, and then as you exhale, go ahead and hum as you exhale. So we'll just do a gentle just until you run out of air. And as soon as you start to run out of air, you can let it go. So we're going to do that a few more times, taking your breaths at your own pace, just breathing in through your nose. And if you're breathing through your mouth, just make sure it's a slow, even breath through your mouth. And breathe in and hum. Inhale. 3 more breaths like this. Breathing in. And if you were humming, go ahead and start to release the sound and just come back to your breath. If you are seated at this point with your legs crossed, you might want to cross the other leg. Get a little bit of opposition, balance. And sit up tall, breathe in. We're going to take a few minutes to just meditate with some really, really light sounds. So we'll go ahead and sit up nice and tall. Breathe in, continue to breathe all on your own throughout this entire time as I'm playing. And if you want to have maybe something to focus on, a theme or an intention, the theme of the third eye chakra is I see. I see clearly, maybe. I see the world around me. I see myself. Whatever you want that to mean to you today, start to focus in on it. Just tune into the sound as we take a few quiet minutes of meditation. Wherever you are in your mental space, start to come back to the here and now in this moment. Take a deep breath. Before we start our practice, let's begin with one Om all together. Wherever you are, or whatever day it is, take a big deep breath. Om. meditating with your eyes open, or closed rather. Let's open the eyes nice and slow. Come up onto your mat. We're just gonna start in a child's pose. So let's find your child's pose here. Bring the feet back, heels to the buttock area. And your hips are just gonna sink really heavy onto the earth. And then let your palms come to the earth, as well as your forearms and then your forehead. And so all the way today, folding to the earth, connecting your forehead, connecting your third eye chakra to the mat, to everything else in your body. And today we're going to really move slowly through everything we do. So with that in mind, if you have a block or pillows or a strap that you like to use, please keep those nearby in case you want to grab them for support. So I am going to take a block now for child's pose. We're going to come back into child's pose for just a second. Maybe rest here. So I'm going to bring my forehead down to a block. Give me a little more height. And let those arms stretch forward. Relax the neck. Relax the upper body. Breathe into your low belly. If you need to, you can spread your knees a little wider to get some more width out of it. Just breathe here, letting the neck be long, pressing the forehead into the mat or into the block, whatever you've got. A nice thick book will work always as well. And then on an inhale, let's go ahead and bring your hands back slowly, parallel to your legs, and then all the way around and behind your back. And then bring the palms to meet at the base of your spine, supporting yourself with your legs and your low belly. Maybe let the hands start to come up towards the sky just slightly. Stretching the shoulders out here. Breathe into the low belly. Press up from the earth in your legs and in the tops of your feet. Pressing up from the earth to support the rest of your body. And then exhale slowly and with control. Release your hands. Bring the backs of the hands back to the earth, and then drag those hands up along your body all the way until they're around your shoulders. Plant the palms. And slowly let's come up off the earth with the forehead. Just start to move in the body a little bit here. We're going to head into a tabletop position, start to move into our slow flow here. So plant the hands. Come up with the hips onto the knees. Maybe sending the toes long or curling the toes under. And then we're just going to slowly push the hips up and back. Head into downward dog. Really quickly. We're going to extend the right leg up and back so you can drop the left heel. Just slowly bring that heel up as if you were running it along the wall behind you. And then pull that knee in towards your nose slowly on an exhale. And then finally bring it all the way through. Plant your foot between your hands. And we'll bring the other foot up to meet it. And we're heading into a forward fold here. Forward fold, nice bend in the knees. Relax the neck. Let it hang loose. Breathe into the belly. Then on your next inhale, let's go ahead and lift up halfway. Drag the fingertips up the legs. Extend the spine long. Exhale, back to the earth. Keep those knees bent, pressing into the earth. Again, lift halfway. Inhale. Crown of the head is long towards the front of your mat. And then exhale, fingertips slowly head back towards the earth. One more time through that. Let's drag those fingertips nice and slow up the legs as you inhale. And exhale. Hands go all the way back down the legs. Bring the fingertips to the earth. Bend the knees, drop the hips until the palms come to meet the earth. Let's go ahead and step one foot back, then the other, returning to downward dog. Press into the earth with your palms. Let the heels be heavy, bend the knees, tuck the low belly into your spine. Then we're going to anchor through the left heel, slowly raise the right heel. Exhale and come all the way through with the knee until you can plant your foot between your hands. This time coming up into a warrior one. So we'll drop the back leg, drop the back heel. Back foot is at a 45-degree angle. Front foot is with the toes towards the front of the mat. We're going to slowly lift up from the hips. Squeeze in with your hips to keep you strong as you lift up. Hands nice and wide, palms facing each other. Take a deep breath, press into your strong feet here in warrior one pose. As you try to keep your hips square towards the mat, so if you start to feel them maybe opening one way or the other, maybe drop your right hip and pull the left hip towards the front of your mat to keep them square. Drop the arms. Palms come to meet behind the back again. And we're going to kind of forward fold just like we did earlier in child's pose, lifting the arms as we fold forward over the front leg. If you have a block, this is a great time to take your blocks and maybe get them ready in front of your mat, because we will have an option to use them in a minute. Going to be a couple options in this next pose, okay? So in warrior one, this is kind of your base pose that we're going to come back to anytime you need to right here. So grounding into the feet, finding some space between the legs. If you feel like you need to widen your stance between your legs, that's perfectly fine. Okay, so we're going to come nice and strong into both feet. Hands are working towards meeting behind your back. Inhale and lengthen your spine so you can stand up tall. Exhale and slowly fold forward from your waist. So your spine is long, head is reaching towards the front of the room, your gaze starts to drop down towards the ground. And in humble warrior pose here, you have the option to stay right here or lift your hands slowly up towards the sky. But if you do that, make sure that you keep your neck long and the crown of your head long. If you start to feel anything crunching in the shoulders or neck area, release those arms, release everything back down. Really pressing up from the earth in the front foot and in the edge of the back foot. So your thighs are really strong here. And then if you like, have the option to release the hands. Bring your hands down to blocks or down to the earth and pivot that back foot so that your toes are facing forward in both feet. You have the option to go to a standing splits pose. So if you have your hands on the ground, you're just going to bring the fingertips and maybe just barely lift the toes off the earth. And maybe you start to lift that leg a little higher, pressing down into the right foot, and then dropping your head heavy towards your foot. And wherever you're at with this back foot, if you're just slightly lifting off the ground, that's great. If you want to keep your toes on the ground, that's great too. And then if you have blocks, it's a great way to pull off this standing splits is to just place your hand on the blocks and slowly lean forward onto the blocks. Putting most of your weight, of course, in that right leg. Breathe in. Just a couple more seconds here. The neck is long, the shoulders are relaxed, the head is heavy. And then very slowly, let's come back up and bring the left foot to meet the right. And then immediately into a forward fold. So you're dropping the hands, letting the neck become heavy, keeping your knees bent. And if you maybe you can just lift the right heel slightly off the ground and lean your weight into that left heel. The right leg worked very hard for us a moment ago. Just give it a little bit of rest. And drop both heels back to the earth, nice and heavy. Now lift halfway, slowly dragging your hands up your legs. And then dropping back down nice and slow. This time we're lifting up into a chair pose. So coming up with the hands up from the hips. Upper body heads up, slow movements, but the hips drop down. Now keep your knees at about a 90-degree angle here. If your knees start to head too far over your feet, maybe just lift up a little higher. We want to achieve this by dropping the hips back and keeping your knees nice and stable over the ankles here. So reaching forward, maybe reaching up with your chair pose. Quickly bring your hands together, thumbs to the third eye chakra, pressing up from the earth here. Remember our mantra, I see. And then bring the hands down to the heart center, thumbs pressing against your collarbone. Just a gentle, slowly twist to the left. Bring the right elbow to the outside of the left leg. Pressing up from the ground with the feet, keeping the knees over the ankles, dropping the hips maybe a little lower. Deep breath in. And then we're coming up from that slow, reaching up into your chair pose. And then dropping it all the way back down for another last forward fold for right now. Couple breaths to recenter yourself here. Exhale, press into the earth. And then slowly lift all the way up to mountain pose. And in mountain pose, you want to have your hands facing towards the front of your mat, wherever your eyes and the front of your body are facing, so that in this position, your shoulder blades can wrap around your spine and wrap around your ribs. Just breathe here for a couple of minutes. Maybe come back to the Ujjayi breath, ocean breath. Breathing in slow through the nose, out through the mouth, imagining the waves pulling in and then coming out. And relax your face. All right, and then taking this next inhale just to, again, recenter and then head back into our flow on the other side. Okay, so grounding into the mat with your feet. If you ended up maybe a little bit far forward towards the front of your mat, totally fine, but let's step it back so you have some space for this next flow of movements. Okay, so we're gonna take a deep breath, press into the earth with the feet, lift up with the hands. Straight spine, long spine, crown of the head reaches towards the top of the room, and the gaze is directly in front of you, but the hands are reaching up towards the sky. And then we're going to fold forward. Nice and slow till the fingertips come towards the earth. Feet are still pressing you up from the mat even here. The knees are gently bent. And then from here, we're going to start to come up into our slow halfway lift. So you just lengthen your spine so you have almost sort of a flat neutral back. The crown of your head is reaching towards the front of the room. Your eyes are looking down towards the mat, shoulders pulling away from the ears. Exhale and drop it back down. Inhale, slowly lift up, bend the knees. This motion should really feel like it's coming from your hips and your core. And then drop it slowly back down. One more time, lifting. Slow and inhale. And exhale. And from here, we can go ahead and walk the hands forward into a downward dog. Nice slow movements again, breathing into the belly, pressing the hands into the earth. Nice strong feet. And then we're going to go ahead and drop the right heel heavy this time. Lift the left foot slowly up and back. And then as we exhale, bring that all the way forward through your arms. Plant the foot, and we're coming up into Warrior One here. Maybe get a little space between your feet this time before you come up. 45-degree angle in the back leg. Lifting up tall from the waist, deep breath. Keep that spine long, and make sure that your front knee doesn't start to fall outwards. Pull it back in towards your midline if you need to. We're repeating that sequence on the other side. So we're going to make our spine nice and long, stand up really tall, and then just gently drop the hands by the sides. Bring the palms to meet. Maybe you cross the other thumb over this time. Hips are trying to be square towards the front of the room. You can squeeze inward with your hips a little bit to really kind of make that happen and stabilize you. And then slowly, we're going to take a big inhale. Exhale and lean forward. And then breathe here. Maybe the top of your belly comes to the top of your leg a little bit. Strong feet pressing you up from the earth. And then maybe as you inhale, you start to lift your hands towards the sky. Couple deep breaths here. Lifting up from the earth, but letting the neck be long and the head and face be totally relaxed. And slowly release the hands. We're going to come back with the hands down to the earth. Turning the back toes so that they are towards the front of the mat. And then if you want to grab your blocks again, you can bring your blocks up either side of your left foot. And we're heading towards a half splits, standing on one leg here, right? So we're standing split pose. So we're going to just start to shift your weight onto the left foot, come up onto the back toes. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you'd like to lift a little higher. And then eventually shifting your weight forward. Always makes me think about those little hummingbirds that lean forward and drink the water. Just leaning forward, letting your neck be long. Pressing up from the earth with that standing leg, leaning on your blocks for support. Inhale into the belly. Turn that outer hip down towards the mat to try to keep it from opening outward. And then slowly lower that foot back. Bring both feet together on the mat. Maybe move your blocks out of the way, and we're back to our forward fold here. Hands come to the earth. Deep breath into your belly. Maybe again, just lean onto your right foot and lift that left heel off the ground, leaning onto your fingertips. Just giving that foot a little bit of a break. And then dropping both feet. Slowly lift up halfway as we inhale. Exhale, lower back to the earth. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And this time coming up into a chair pose. So the hands lift up towards the sky, hips drop back, knees at 90 degrees above the ankles. Breathe in. Tuck the low belly into your spine a little. Tuck the low ribs. Pull the chest through your shoulders. Hands come to meet again. Press that thumb to your third eye. Coming back to your mantra, maybe thinking a little bit further this time. I see clearly. I see myself clearly. I see the world around me clearly. Exhale and bring the hands to the heart. Thumbs press against the chest. And then slowly bring the elbow to the outside of the right knee for a chair twist. Press up from the earth with those feet, strong thighs, strong glutes, just for a second. Breathing in here, belly on the top of the thighs. Down to the ground slowly. Hands come to the earth, knees are nice and bent. And then from right here, what we're going to do is go ahead and press the hands onto the earth, bend the knees, press the right foot into the ground, step the left foot back. Keep the toes facing towards the front of the mat. Just slightly bending over your front leg for just a second if you'd like to grab blocks and let those support you. This partially into a pyramid pose here, bending over your leg, and then slowly let's come up. Hands come up towards the sky. And then drop back down to the sides, and we're going to turn towards the long side of your mat. So both toes now face towards the side of your mat. And maybe just, step up onto your toes. Wiggle with your toes a little bit here. Rest the legs, shake the legs out. Just a little bit of a stretch in those legs for sure. And then let's take a nice deep breath in. Spread the legs wide, feet again pointing towards the long edge of your mat here. And we're going to go ahead and reach the arms up towards the sky, 5-pointed star pose here. So like you're making a star with your body. And don't feel the need to be totally still in this pose. If you want to find better alignment with your feet or move your feet a little wider or a little closer together. Wiggle the hips from side to side to find your best alignment. Do all of that. And then very slowly we're going to start to exhale and fold forward from the waist into a wide-legged forward fold here. You want to try to bring both hands down to the earth. Just the fingertips is totally fine. Just breathe here for a moment. And then slowly just kind of bring your left hand to the center. Maybe bending into your knees a little bit to make this easier on you. And then we're going to press the palm into the earth. Breathe in. Slowly reach the right hand up across the body. And then up towards the sky. Let the hips be nice and heavy here so that you don't start to lean forward. Stacking the shoulders over each other. Breathe in, reaching towards the sky. And then exhale, slowly bring that hand all the way back down to the earth. And switch it out with your other hand. Exhale. And other side, again, keep the knees bent if you need. Slowly drawing that hand up across your body all the way up to the sky. Reaching up, maybe your gaze goes up towards the sky for just a second. Stay leaning back so that you don't start to lean forward. And then slowly bring that hand all the way back. Hang down towards the ground again, towards your center. Breathe in and out. And then maybe bring the hands up to the waist. And slowly we're going to start to come all the way back up with the legs. Standing up nice and tall here. Take a couple deep breaths, find your center. And then we're going to just slowly bring one heel and then the other a little closer together. And coming back to turn towards the front of your mat. Moving into our final sequences here. Reach your hands up towards the sky, feet come together. Take a deep breath in and again, relax your face. This time, relax your eyes, relax your eyebrows, and then see if that can go a little further into relaxing your cheekbones. And then relaxing your mouth and relaxing your jaw. All the way down, just breathing calmly as we reach up. And then everything drops down. Jaw stays relaxed. Breathe out. Drop forward, forward fold. And then we're going to go ahead and just bring the hands towards the earth. Start to walk the hands forward. Into one last downward dog. Maybe here you stretch those legs out a little bit after those standing sequences. Bring one heel up and then the other. Pressing into the earth with the hands. Shoulders pull away, nice and relaxed. And then slowly come forward and drop the knees to the mat. And these last few poses are just going to be really focused on relaxing you, bringing it down, and bringing you back into that creative third eye energy. That ability to perceive the world around you and to perceive clearly. So in our tabletop pose here, we're going to actually come back. Flatten the feet so that the tops of your feet are against the mat. Try to keep that like your feet are straight. So if they start to feel like they're opening outwards or curving inwards, maybe try and bring your pinkies, toes, or your big toes to the mat. Press into the earth. Slowly bring the hips back up and then on to the heels. And then sit back. Sit up tall, kind of sitting on your knees here. Well, if that's a little bit awkward for you, one thing you can do is grab a block and then just set that kind of between your legs at whatever height is good. Set on the block. Or if you want to sit up a little taller, not be all the way flat feet, you can curl your toes here as well. Nice kneeling pose here. whatever you want to do to kneel, press up from the earth, and then what we're going to do is bring your hands back to the very base of your spine, just as if you were putting your hands in your back pockets, and then slowly come up onto the knees. And just gently bend backwards, bringing the forehead up to look towards the ceiling. Just a slight, soft, gentle bend in the back. Breathe into your belly here. Press the feet into the mat. Press up from the earth, maybe pressing the calves into the earth. Really kind of using those glute muscles to support you here and hold you up, activating those muscle groups all around your hips and your low back. And then just slowly coming back down with the hips. And then all the way through into our child's pose where we began earlier. So in your child's pose here, feel free to get as creative as you like. You can bring your knees out wide, or you can keep your knees together, just bend over. You can, even if you want, go into a dolphin pose. So forearms to the earth, hips up, forehead to the mat, or forehead to the block. Whatever you want to do. Just pressing into the mat, and here we're going to start to slowly just move back and forth on your forehead, like you're giving your forehead a massage with the mat. Just rolling from side to side with gentle motion. If you are all the way in child's pose, maybe you have your arms extended and you're just rolling that head and neck from side to side very slowly and gently. Breathing into the belly. And then slowly come up just slightly with the hips, enough that you can bring the feet to one side. And turn onto one side of your body. Maybe bring your arm under your head and just rest here for a second. Pressing your left foot, left hand into the mat. Supporting your head with that other arm. And then slowly coming all the way through from there. Onto your back. And just, you're going to slowly lower onto your back and bring your hands wherever you feel good for your final resting pose here. Last session we did a legs up the wall pose for a resting pose. That's a great option if you want to just bring your legs up against a wall, or don't even really need the wall if you want to just press your legs up against the sky. Or you can bring your legs all the way down. Feel free to grab a pillow or bolster so you can bring your knees up a little here. Or even just bring the knees up and then drop them inward to press against each other. Many options to come into your final resting pose. Breathe into the belly. Feel your belly expand and then exhale. Inhale. And exhale. We're going to come here for just the last few minutes of our practice to once again let that practice focus, settle in. And then come back to the focus we set earlier. thinking about what does it mean to see clearly to you. Relaxing the forehead as you exhale. And then inhale. Relaxing the cheekbones, the nose, the sides of the face. And then the top of the jaw, the lower jaw. Relaxing your tongue inside your mouth, relaxing your shoulders. And following this down all the way to your legs, so you're just sinking into the mat. And once again, come back to that idea of the third eye right in the middle of your forehead, the seat of your consciousness, the seat of perception. And again, just thinking about what does it mean to you to perceive the world clearly. As we move through the vowel sounds in our 7 chakras, we come into the third eye chakra with the A sound. And then sometimes the third eye is also associated with the Om sound. So today, to bring us out, just gonna lightly make some sounds. Feel free to remain in your resting pose as long as you like. Wishing you peace, clarity of sight as you move through your universe. We chant the Om to connect us to the outside universe, as well as the universe within ourselves. So we begin with that today to end our practice. And then if you do still have your eyes closed, or you remain in a Shavasana, remember you're welcome to stay in your resting pose as long as you like. May you leave this practice today with intentions of clear sight, clear perception, both of yourself and of the world around you. Om Shanti. Peace and happiness be with you all.